morning. My name's Lorene. Welcome to Books at the Bottom of the Stairs. Right now we're at our camp, which is just around a place called Port Medway, the Medway River. We're sort of at the bottom of it, off to the side and behind a big piece of land. And we have what used to be a small plop of an island, but the provincial government made a road from one peninsula over there to over there and used this piece of property to be an anchor point. So it's not really an island anymore, but it does have water. And the tide is coming in, so you may hear a bunch of, no, I'm wrong, it's going out. And that might be some of the noise you hear in the background as well as the wind. So we've had a lot of rain, there's been a lot of reading, and today we went into Liverpool to get extra warm sweaters. And I really, as I suspected, I didn't have enough books. I actually have 2 more books inside, but they are not books I'm like super excited to read. So we went to Value Village and we picked up a couple more books. So let me tell you what's been happening. Our read aloud book, we usually do 2 physical books and 1 audio book every summer. So Terry Pratchett, the Book of Mort, the first one in the Death World, is to this year's read aloud. Really enjoying it. Mort's a very good character. Death is, I think, this is my second go rounds of books for me this summer. So this is my second reading of this book, and I think Death is funnier this time round because I'm not really reading it for plot. I can be reading it more for just enjoying the shenanigans that they get up to. So I'm really enjoying Death. And then there's a secondary character, I think his name is Archie. Anyway, he's the fellow that looks after Death's property in the, where would you call the ether somewhere, and he's an interesting character as well. So the first book I started out with was Marie-Claire Blais in Her Mad Shadows, which was originally published, I believe, in 1960, and I read it in high school, and the National Ballet of Canada has turned it into a one-act ballet, and I don't know if it's still in their repertoire, but it was pretty interesting when they did. I did see it, I think, on film. I don't think I saw it live. Anyways, this is a really great book. It's demented. There are 4 main characters and then 2 secondary but catalytic characters that come in about the halfway point. It's written in 4 parts, and we've got, let me see now, there's, oh my God, Marie Isabelle is, I guess you could say she's the central figure in terms of how we see the world of this farm. There's Louise, who is the mother, who has the firstborn child is a son, and he is Patrice, and very low intelligence, but just astonishing beauty. And I completely forgot it'll come to me. So as Louise and Patrice and Isabelle Marie go through life, all the attention is on Patrice, and the mother completely compensates for Patrice's lack of intelligence and engagement and communication, and she sort of answers, if she asks a question, she answers the question for him. So he really, doesn't even have a very big vocabulary. I think he's capable of a lot more, but it was just never requested of him. And as time goes by, Isabelle Marie ends up falling in love with the neighbor boy who is blind. His vision is going to recur, and that's going to have some pretty significant ramifications for Isabelle Marie. Then, and as I'm telling the story, I'm thinking, have I got Isabelle Marie? Yeah, it is Isabelle Marie. I thought maybe I had flipped that. I sometimes do that. Anyhow, then another person comes in, and he is a new lover of Louise, and she is besotted. They're both besotted with each other because they appeal to each other's vanities. And I see the tea coming. Yay! Thank you. Thank you. It's super cold. Well, it's not cold right this second, but it has been super cold. Okay, so the lover comes in, and as you can expect from a family that's so tightly insulated in their dysfunction, he stirs the pot significantly, and we have quite an ending. Um, there, there is banishment, there is retrieval, there is insanity. There's all kinds of very very intense things happening. It's only 127 pages, 22 pages. I think this is an excellent book, and Canadian, and I'm going to continue to find books for her. One of the things we've struggled with is the library being open, as I've mentioned. So I'm pretty sure she's going to be in the university libraries. So my husband has a card for that. I'm hoping to track down her other books. And I do believe that she's written, someone told me 10, but I think it's even more. Now, on the back of this book, there's the New Canadian Library, 79 offerings, and out of those 79 offerings, there's only a few who are female, typical kind of publishing hubris there. So I think what I'm going to do in the fall, when I'm back closer to a bigger library, is track down some of these female writers. Now, Susan Moody, Roughing It in the Bush, and her sister, Catherine Partrail, The Backwoods of Canada. I think I've read their, I'm not sure if I've read everything, but I've read 2 of the 3 things they have. So that's a very good book. I recommend that author. Tony Hillerman is also a reread for me, and I think I mentioned before that I would just grab books off of the new releases back when the kids were little, and that's how I encountered Tony Hillerman in the mystery section, because I found those were the years that I just read mystery and romance, because you could kind of get in and get out without having to worry about. Both of them were easy to backtrack and catch your plot points. So this one, when I first read it, I didn't catch the plot points too much, because there was so much anthropology and discussion around the gods and the Zuni religious ceremonies, or the lack of information as out of respect for not revealing things that I, as a white person, have no business knowing. So I struggled a bit at the time with reading the anthropology part, and as a result, the mystery, I got a little bit confused as to who was doing what. Didn't have time to go back and reread it, so I'm really glad I did, because I enjoyed it just as much. And I have no idea, well, when was this written? It had to have been in at least minimum in the 80s, 1973. So that's like 50 years on. I don't know how much of the Zuni religion is accurate, and as far as I know, there hasn't been any call-outs about misappropriation or misrepresentation, so maybe he did a really good job of it. So the one I'm reading right now, I was looking forward to this as a release. I thought it was a new release. No, Lorene, it's not a new release. Longborn by Joe Baker, and it was about 5 years ago that it came out, and my husband said to me, I'm pretty sure you read that, and I'm pretty sure I didn't. And then I'm reading it along, in the first 25 pages I think, no, I haven't read this. So now I'm on page 100, and I think, yep, I have read this, and I have a feeling I'm going to be unhappy at a certain point. I just trying to remember what actually transpires and think, was that a happy ending? So I have to try and put that away, because that's a bad plan. What's the other thing that's going on? I have an audiobook that I'm not ready to talk about. So we ended up in Value Village and came away with 3 books, and I'm not sure really which one. Well, let's say the pickings were pretty slim. This one might be okay. It's an Erast Fandorin mystery called The Diamond Chariot by Boris Akun, C-U-K-U-N-N. No, I'm totally wrong. The text is, that's not very good font. A-K-U-N-I-N, but it all blurs together for me. So Russia is in a bloody war with Japan. Enemy spies converge on St. Petersburg. Fandorin is called to investigate an explosion on a railway bridge. Trailing a suspect to Moscow, the detectives come face to face with more adversaries than he's ever met before. What? Can he prevent a murder on the Trans-Siberian Express? 1878, Japan. An intrepid young Fandorian arrives in Yokohama. His brief is to settle small disputes among the natives. I wonder how they like that. But something sinister is brewing. Fandorin meets Masa, the man who will become his assistant, and the beautiful courtesan Oyumi, the only woman he will ever love. Together, they investigate rumors of a plot to kill a minister. As the strands converge in a thrilling finale, Fandorin will learn a secret that challenges everything he thought he knew. So, possibly a good mystery. Sounds like a bit of a romp. And interesting to find out about the Russian-Japanese wars. This one is Wittgenstein's Nephew, a novel by Thomas Bernhardt. Don't know anything about it. Steve grabbed it, and he didn't have his glasses on. So it has something to do with the Viennese hospital and two men who are bedridden. So that could, and it's short, so. And then the last one is one that I don't think I had a lot of interest in it at the time that it came out, both as a book or as a movie, but, you know, books are scarce. So this is The Time Traveler's Wife, and it is written by Audrey Niffenegger. She is from Chicago, and it is a love story about a dashing librarian who involuntarily travels through time, and Claire Abshire, an artist whose life takes a natural sequential course. They have a passionate affair that endures across a sea of time and captures them in an impossibly romantic trap that tests the strength of fate and basks in the bonds of love. We'll see what happens. And then Steve's been reading a book called Roughing It by Mark Twain, and it is Mark Twain's travels through the United States, and I guess they're very short chapters, and I haven't heard him snickering. I don't know if it's going to be a good book or not, but those last three are sort of on my in emergency only books. So the sun keeps coming in and out. I don't know where it's going to go, whether it's going to continue to be kind of flickery like that or not, but I'm going to try and pan the camera so that you can maybe see the water. So if it fails, I hope all your book dreams and adventures continue to come true, and I'll see you next time.